Hi, I'm Ricky.
And I'm Vicky.
Welcome to Divorce Yay! So today we're going to talk about getting through your divorce. And I think the easiest way to start doing that is by understanding what you're going through. A long time ago, there was a lady called Kubler-Ross that was also divorced that came up with the 5 stages of grief. Stage number 1, stage denial. This can't be happening. Oh no, not me. When you're in denial, it's like when you wake up in the middle of the night and panic washes all of your body and you're like, oh my God, why am I freaking out? Oh yeah, I'm getting divorced. Or when your left thumb reaches over to your marriage finger, your wedding finger, and you are searching for that band and it's not there, that's denial. My ex asked me for a divorce 1 month before I finally accepted it. He asked me and I said, nope, this isn't happening. I went on with my day-to-day living like nothing happened until again, one day he cornered me and he was like, this is happening. We are getting a divorce. I'm not going to Hawaii with you. And even after that, I went out that night and didn't come home. And I said in my head, I won't come home. He'll call, he'll worry, he'll ask me to come back. Even as my ex was opening his own accounts and slowly moving his stuff out, I still was in such denial that I didn't really think it was happening.
So my ex was MIA and I didn't know where he was. It'd been 4 days since I even heard from him. So I was panicking. He was out of town for business, but I checked his bank statements to see if he was where he was because he's supposed to be in a different country. And he had transactions in San Francisco at a restaurant and a limo service. And I was very confused because he's not supposed to be in San Francisco. Finally, when he called me, he told me that his business partner must have taken his card and had a business meeting in San Francisco. And I was like, oh, thank God, that makes so much sense. And we moved on. So Mom told me that you're getting divorced.
Who's getting divorced?
She said that you're getting divorced.
No, that's just something we do when we're fighting. It's fine. Stage number 2,
anger. This isn't fair. In this stage, you're going to experience a wide range of emotions.
You'll start playing the blame game. Everything was his fault. Everything was somebody else's fault. This definitely wasn't your fault. This is the stage where you will do things that you regret. It might be sleeping with his best friend, or starting a fight with a family member, or driving your car into his house. You never know, but this is the stage where you really need to be careful with your loved ones because this is where they're willing to they're seeing red. They're basically out of the denial stage, but they're in reality, but the reality is they're very angry. I'm not an angry person, but when my ex finally came home after asking me for a divorce, I stood on top of the 3rd level of the house and just screamed everything I could think of that would hurt his feelings, even things that weren't true. And boy, did I feel like an idiot. He just laughed at me and walked away. During my anger phase, I lashed out in indirect ways. I started to hang out with one of the guys that used to work for us, and it was just because I wanted my ex to find out. I wanted him to be mad as I was about him leaving me, as me dating this other guy.
I was mad at him. I was mad at her. I was even a little bit mad at myself, even though I felt like I had nothing, I didn't do anything wrong. But mostly I was mad at the universe because I had this dream and the universe just took it from me.
I got you a plant. What are you looking at? Get that away from me. Ugh. Stage number 3, bargaining.
How can I fix this? How can I make him change his mind?
In this stage, you are negotiating with anybody that will listen to you in your head. You're bargaining with God. You're bargaining with whatever you believe in. This is where, say you're on a plane and there's really heavy turbulence, and you're just basically saying the whole time, dear God, just please land this plane, and I promise I'll be a good girl. I promise I'll do everything right. This is where you're promising everything to anybody to just have him back. In this stage, you would give up anything to make him change his mind. All you want to do is stay in the marriage with him, even though he doesn't want you anymore. You're conversing about divorce. and you're being nice to him because you think if I give him everything he wants, he'll want me back. But guess what? He didn't want you back when you were giving him everything you wanted in the marriage. It's not going to change anything during this stage either. In this phase, you kind of know it's over, but you still have that fantasy that they're going to come back for you. And even though I was living in Hawaii and having a pretty good time, I was, already went through anger and denial. I knew it was happening, but still in the back of my mind, I thought any moment now, he's just going to come back for me. He'll show up at the door. If I give him what he wants with the divorce, he'll realize I'm a great person. If I leave him alone with this new girl, he'll realize I'm understanding. And it's just like this really purgatory phase of moving on from your ex.
Even after I found out that he was with somebody else, that he was in love with, I convinced myself that he was going to come back for me, that he was going to get tired of her, or that he was going to realize that he made a mistake. So I convinced myself if I lost weight, if I dyed my hair blonder, if I tried to look more like her, if I was just a better person, if I ran our bars better, that he would come back to me. After everything you've said, I just don't think it's gonna work.
Oh yeah, I know. That's why I'm gonna do all the work.
Stage number 4.
Depression. It's gonna be okay. Hold me. Sorry. In this stage, you care very little about yourself or anything else for that matter. This might be the stage where you experience suicidal thoughts. This is the stage that you feel like there's a dark cloud just hovering over your head and nothing's ever going to be right again. I was heavily depressed. I was working 6 days a week, trying to keep my mind off of everything. Also drinking 7 days a week, trying to keep my mind off of everything. I didn't really care about myself. I was just dating guys and just having a great time and covering up the hatred I had for myself with anything that I could get my hands on.
After we separated, we actually slept together afterwards, and he said some really awful things to me following that evening. And it put me in such a spiral of depression that I honestly just had to move. I packed up all my stuff and left where I was living and moved to Hawaii. You look really pretty today.
I don't care.
Mom said that you guys won the lottery?
That's just money.
She also said Brad Pitt was...
What?
He's gonna ask you out.
I don't care.
In stage number 5.
Acceptance. It's gonna be okay.
I'm going to be fine.
You accept your new normal and evolve into a new identity.
When I was in Hawaii, he called me and told me that they were pregnant. And even though this didn't make me accept what was happening, this was definitely the beginning to my acceptance, because once there was a baby involved, I knew that there was no way that we could ever work again. Guess who I ran into?
Who?
Your ex.
Oh, what? I don't care. I hope he's happy. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Doing great. Since then, Kubler-Ross has been debunked because people find that you go back and forth through stages and not just down one path, linear path. Thanks for listening to us talk about the 5 stages of grief today. Just remember, no matter where you are in those stages, you're going to get through it.
We would like to remind you that no matter what stage you're in, there is victories in all the stages. So celebrate those yays. Thanks for joining us at Divorce Yay!